Henry and Elward puffed home to the sheds. It had been a busy day for them, and they were very tired. And last, Elward went to the shed. So most of the engines were now fast asleep in the roundhouse. But I came along to see Henry. Well, forgive me for that. Oh, Henry, my dear lad, I've just came to say good night to you. You did very well pulling the train with Elward. Plus, Elward did her best to pull the train alone with you in tow. Plus, I'm sending you to the works tomorrow, where you will be mended. Tomorrow, Danny will take the flying kipper and your mixed goods while you go to the works to be mended. I better get back home now. Sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. So later on, the engines were busy, but Preston was lurking around. Splatter and Dodge were taking the express, and Monique was taking the branch line local, because there weren't many engines available. Well, there were most of the engines from the Bridall-Croft and David Mitten era, but not many to help out to come to the island. Henry, the temporary painted red engine, was on his way to the works to go and have his brakes checked after yesterday's incident. So they got to work and were inspecting his brakes. Ow. So Henry was having his brakes repaired, but the people working on Henry's brakes, who were supposed to be working on his brakes, put back in his old brakes, which means that those brakes are no longer workable, which means for Henry, they would not be safe for him to run. So the person in charge said that everything was okay. So Henry was now ready to leave. But out of the blue, there was a spillage of brake fluid. So now Henry was ready to depart. Today, while Henry was being serviced at the works, Henry's driver was being a bit careless. She took off her shoes and socks, then she left them behind. Then there was trouble. Henry's driver's foot got caught in the gears, and the gears of Henry rolled away, and Henry was out of control. Henry started rolling down the hill, and Thomas saw what was going on. Help! Help! Don't worry, Henry. I'll save you. Thomas puffed after Henry as fast as he could, but he could not go fast enough. Then Henry started rolling up the other hill. Help! Help! Don't worry, Henry, I'm right in front. But no good. Come on, Annie and Clarabelle. We haven't got time to waste. So Henry was out of sight and Thomas could no longer find him. Bugger, I hope Henry's not going to crash. So Henry was still a runaway. Thomas was busy looking for Henry. He did not know where Henry had got to. Henry! Henry! I'm here to save you! Henry! We better find him, Annie and Clarabelle. So Thomas pulled into the station with his two coaches, and the passengers got on and off. Where are you, Henry? I hope you're okay, my lad. Because I hope those brakes aren't faulty, a bit like the time when James had those wooden brakes, which I also mean as known as Jamesy car. I hope that you're okay, Henry. Later, Thomas heard something. Oh good, Henry must be whistling to someone else to try and help him. Annie and Clarabelle. But Annie and Clarabelle did not answer. We'll find out together, won't we, Annie and Clarabelle? So Annie and Clarabelle just rolled their eyes, and Thomas pulled out of the station with his train. Hopefully Henry will be all right. Henry was running like crazy. He couldn't stop, plus he had no way he could tell what was going to happen next. He was switched onto the line leading into the roundhouse. Then crash. The wall on the inside fell on top of Henry, and all of a sudden the shed was falling on top of Henry. The wall on the outside was falling. Donald and Douglas saw what was going on. "Oh, Henry," they cried. "We'll get you out when the disaster's over." So Henry was now badly damaged. He was now severely damaged from crashing into the shed, and he was feeling very terrible. And a workman was now deceased. Soon I came to see Henry. "Henry, I'm sorry about your accident, boy. I hope you're okay. Plus, I've called up. There's nothing they can do for you here, because you'll have to be sent to Canberra to be mended. You'll be loaded onto a goods train, and I'll have you sent there when I get the chance." "But what about my flying kipper? Who will look after that? Gordon can't do the work because he or she needs to pull the mainline local." "Oh, get Danny to do it, Henry. I'm sorry that you crashed into the shed, because those brakes were no good. Because I'm going to get on to that mafia railway inspector, the corrupt boss of my uncle. I'm going to get on to him one day and get the better of him. Yeah, I'll teach him a lesson, showing that the old advertisement board was destroyed. I'll send you to the works next day, which will be tomorrow, and the goods train will help transport you. And I'll be organising where the other engines can sleep, so that while we get the sheds rebuilt. Henry said glumly, because he was very sad and upset that he accidentally crashed into the shed and destroyed Gordon's berth and also the other back wall. So when we get a chance, it'll be mended. So I had to cancel all trains for most of the other engines so that they can help get rid of the wreckage of the sheds. And I'll be working out timetables while he gets sent to be repaired. And I mustn't tell you anymore, or I'll spoil more of the movie. After Henry's big severe crash, Henry's driver had to go to the hospital. The two engines, Monique and Elward, had to sleep at Knapford Harbour because for Tidmouth sheds needing to be pulled down, the two of them had to decide to sleep at Knapford Harbour because they're sisters. Gordon, Emily, Duck and Jamesica had to sleep at Ellsbridge engine sheds on Thomas's branch line because it was very hard for them to sleep there because they were cranky, not just because of how they had to leave Tidmouth sheds, even though Duck doesn't really sleep there. They were cranky because of the mean engines. Dorothy, as known as Gordon's sister, fine Scotswoman, and of course Danny, number 87546, Murdoch and Boko, slept in the carriage shed at Ellsbridge next to the engine sheds. They weren't happy about the other engines, about how, which I mean the evil engines, how the sheds were pulled down when Diesel 10 used to claw Pinchy and Nat. North Tidmouth sheds has to be pulled down because of Henry's accident. So they felt sorry for Henry, plus they all felt miserable. You three engines, which I'm meaning Boko, North Tidmouth sheds will be rebuilt one day, so will the other sheds near there, because we'll think of the positive and think about what we can do to fight back at those engines from Diesel 10's business, Princess Bride. Mary, Bear and Arthur sleep at Tidmouth Holt. They were cranky as well about the bad engines were not helping them, and of course being selfish. Bear spoke to Arthur and Mary. I hope we can fight back at those mean engines, which are from Diesel 10's business, because they've paid us too much trouble. Sure thing, which I mean Arthur, to Bear and Mary, we'll have to sort out those engines one day and pay them back, but we'll get the roundhouse rebuilt for the engines who mainly sleep there. So at Knapford Sheds, Spencer, Donald and Douglas, Bill and Ben, Puffer and Little Al were all asleep. The two sets of twins were cranky because they were cranky how the green and yellow diesels were how they mucked up their quarry. So that means Bill and Ben had to leave the quarry and spend their time down in the normal areas. And Donald and Douglas were cranky as well because they totally dislike the engines from Diesel 10's business. Soon Puffer spoke to the other engines. I hope we engines can get a better job in life, because we look on the bright side and we think about the better things than those engines from Diesel 10's business, Princess Bride, because we don't want those engines such as I'm, Cindy and Darren, Natalie, number 98462, which I'm saying her number, and of course Diesel 10 to bother us. We engines will show that we're more mature than them, and it's a good thing that we live on this island. So the engines had to agree on Puffer's opinion. Toby, Thomas and Percy had their old sheds in next to Tidmouth, the two platform station with the 3 through roads. They had their own shed, like berths, so Thomas is in the middle, Percy's on the right, and Toby's on the left. So the engines were glad that they were in their old sheds. And above them is a loft, which is, the loft is the home of Thomas's driver Kira and his observer Gabby. And to tell you the good news is that Kira is becoming a mum. So that'll be good. So Percy sleeps in the brick berth, and Thomas and Toby sleep in the stone berths. So the engines are glad that they're in their own branch line shed, so that they can so that they can easily do their branch line duties. And because of Percy being Jamesica's girlfriend, the two had to. So while Tidmouth Sheds is being mended, the roundhouse, Percy will live at South Tidmouth Sheds with Thomas and Toby for a little bit while Jamesica lives at Elsbridge on Thomas's branch line. Even though the branch line is a bit heavy for them, the engines need somewhere to sleep. Well, that's about all for those engines. But Mavis and Salty are sleeping in the sheds that weren't destroyed by Diesel 10, because Salty is Toby's guide engine, because Toby can't see that well, and Toby needs help, and that means with Mavis and Salty sleeping in those sheds, let's try again. So that means Henrietta sleeps in those sheds too, but Annie and Clarabelle sleep at the platform, so that Thomas can couple up to them. Well, that's about all. Time I better get ready for bed. Good night, see you in next chapter. In the workshop shed, next to the shed where Tidmouth Sheds is going to be rebuilt, which I mean the roundhouse, Amalia was fast asleep. It had been a busy day for her, and she was fast asleep in a nice shed, because, well, something I've got to tell you, even though I don't want to offend her, is that she was the engine that first started off the Business Princess Bride, but then later she met up with Diesel 10, hoping to be the business partner, which I mean Diesel 10's actual name is Fiona, but her name was originally Diesel, but I won't tell you what her original actual name was, because I don't want to prove two wrongs. So after she got kicked out of the island, now of the business, the Fat Controller found her abandoned on a siding and decided to buy her. And she owned up and said that she'll be a better engine. So she believes in working on SODOR and believes to be kind to steam engines. and she became part of the good Diesel group. So she's a nice Diesel, and I'm just glad that she looks after Thomas and his friends and many of the other good engines. So she was now fast asleep in the shed while the workmen were working on her. Diesel 10 was in the yard somewhere in Sydney. She was trying to talk to her hench dog Preston, but Preston would not answer. So now she decided to slunk away. And it was still raining in shining time. So a lot of people were busy driving carefully to get out to safety. I could tell Stacy was having a hard time needing to go where she needs to be. Forgive me. So it was terrible weather and shining time for a terrible night. I'm just glad that Diesel 10 hasn't found the magic buffers, because I hope she doesn't go on the magic railway, because that's my big concern. Plus my mother's and Stacey's, and of course Burnett and Tasha's. Wendelene was at home, in her home at Muffle Mountain, her family home, where she grew up. She was watching the telly, busy watching the cricket, and she had the aircon on. She was busy getting the other important things ready for the summer. And tomorrow, her niece had an important day, such as going to the island of SODOR. Here, everyone, is Muffle Mountain Station, and here goes a goods train. As the sound of Lady's Magic echoed through the night on Muffle Mountain, a lot of people on the good side who have known Wendelene over the years, and of course her family, in good spirits. And it had also taken a whole night, like evening till early morning, to get the shed pulled down after Henry's crash. So Henry was spending the rest of his time there, getting ready to be transported to be sent to Canberra. and some engines were busy doing their work. Splatter and Dodge had left SODOR to pick up passengers from Sydney. Donald and Douglas were pulling the mainline local, and Percy and Mary were taking the mail. Thomas was getting ready to drop off and pick up passengers because it was now very, very early in the morning.
Thomas, alright? I was thinking, how does T travel here? By gold dust. Elwood and I were just expecting it. Maybe if there's a rust engine, there's a rust railway too. T's railway.
I'm clearly old enough to know a lot about railwaying around these parts, seeing if I can tell you whether or not there's a massive railway in there. It's how few travel here.
The journey gets bumpy and bumpier. That's what T told me. Spot on, Elwood. Oh, he talked about buses in his sleep. Buses are at the end of a railway, so that is how he travelled here.
We must protect ourselves from those horrid engines. Yes, Turkey, on a secret railway. One never told us before.
That's right, Donald and Douglas, Elwood and Percy. We'll make sure that we protect ourselves from danger, like real Euclideans should. And that's what the conductors really appreciate, because Preston sure learned his lesson today. Oops, I accidentally spoke too soon. We'll see later on. So, we'll find out what we can do to sort out that nasty diesel. Yeah. Yes, so if we can sort out those villains from harassing us, we can get the better of them. Yes, because we are more reliable than most of those engines than we are. Yes, Percy, because you and I, we've been best friends for many years, and we are very reliable, and we've worked together and done all sorts of jobs with many of the other engines. Yes, Elwood, we care about Henry too, because I think 98462 will have to fill in to Henry, because she's bossy and mean, and we'll make sure that she does. Yes, or we could help pull the flying kicker, Elwood, and we can help do it for your husband. Donald and Douglas, Percy and Elwood, your engines are clever.
Something just doesn't seem right. I can feel something suspicious in my system.
Yes, Elwood, many of us engines can. You know, I'm kind of have that feeling as well. I think Diesel 10 might be around here.
We're sorry, you five. Diesel 10 heard every word you said. Luckily, Mavis and I, plus the other nice diesels, have caught for eavesdropping on you while you were at Knapford Harbour. I was behind her after all. We were going after her to see them, what they do next. You'd better carry on and get the job done.
How wonderful you engines are. Plus, we rely on you two as well.
You're very brave, Toby, Mavis and the other nice Diesel.
Oh, Diesel 10 won't bother with nice engines like us. He thinks I'm really useless. Yeah, we may be a diesel engine, but we are very kind to the steam engine. We're going to make like
Toby and Mavis, I think I just heard something that's not good. You better hurry along and stop those 3 diesels and that steam engine. Because you better hurry along.
You're very brave, Toby, Mavis and the other nice Diesel.
Oh, Diesel 10 won't bother with nice engines like us. He thinks I'm really useless. Yeah, we may be a diesel engine, but we are very kind to the steam engine.
Good. Now hurry along because you better get the other nice diesels like Splatter and Dodge and of course Amalia, Boko, Daisy and Bear and Rusty onto those evil diesels and that steam engine because we've got no time to waste.
We are going to make life miserable for those nice engines. The island does not need them anymore. IT needs US Princess Bride engines. I don't think
She's meant to do that.
it's the old teapot and nice diesel. Smash them. teapot and nice diesel. Smash them. I always mean what I do. I always mean what I do.
So, all the good engines. So, most of the good diesels, and of course Toby laughed. Salty sure had a good laugh. You deserve that, you little bugger, because you're not nice to us nice diesels. Because we're proud of being nice to the engines on the good side. Yeah, because we nice diesels have helped over the years and be kind to the very nice engines. And you, Fiona and Natalie, are just big troublemakers. And so are you, Lindsay the steamroller. Plus it's good that Amalia ended up redeemed, and so did Splatter and Dodge. Yeah, we're better than you, Diesel 10, because we helped save Jane being scrapped from you almost pushing her into the furnace. So most of the good engines, the diesels on the good side, and of course Toby, all had a good laugh because Diesel 10 and Natalie's path was blocked. Today was the day when Lily, niece of Wendeline's, and of course Wallace's daughter, was on her way to the island of Sodor. And she had a very busy day ahead of her. So she met up with Bluey, Wallace's other dog, and she was having help directed by Bluey to meet up with Splatter and Dodge to help her get to Sodor, pulling their special train, which he runs like a bullet train from Sydney to Sodor. So she got aboard and it was all okay. Splatter and Dodge were on their way back to Sodor. So Splatter was helping push behind. So by now, Splatter and Dodge had arrived on the island of Sodor. So, with taking their success of being as fast as bullet trains, they were proud to be on time to Sodor. And Mavis was busy pulling her heavy goods. Time to give you a wash, Amalia.
Left a bit, right a bit, up a bit.
There, Amalia, you're all scrubbed.
But tea black looks so nice against the ice cream. It's not me, is it?
Say it again, Amalia.
No. Still itchy. Hey, Mr. C, why do you look so tired? Is it because I'm black? Fiona says I should join her. But tea black looks so nice against the ice cream. It's not me, is it?
Of course not, Amalia. Black boots is what I wear on my feet. And importantly, that's a code name so that I protect my feet at work. Plus, you look perfect painted black. Donald and Douglas used to be black, but they've decided to be blue. Anyone on the island of Sodor, like any engine, can choose what they want to be. And that's good, isn't it?
Good.
Oh, as well, I must think of more things that are positive. I'm sorry, Amalia. I've got to get to work to hunt down for that nasty dog Preston. And of course, for your old boss who kicked you out of your business, Princess Bride. Even though it's named after a movie what a fan of Thomas doesn't like. I could tell after you were kicked out of it, you decided not to be part of it, which was good. It's time that you get ready for work now.
Okay, Pete. See you later.
Meanwhile, in Muffle Mountain, Gwendoline was relaxing at home, reading a book of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. She was taking a break from her preserve and conserve making and was now reading a book to relax. Diesel 10 and the other engines from her business, Princess Bride, were in a dump. But here is a song to help get over your troubles. Later on that day, Preston, the naughty blue healer, was up to mischief. He was working out what to do about SODOR's waters, about putting some sort of things in it to harm the environment. Then later, I saw what he was up to. Hello there, big mutt. Remember me? You're gonna pay for this one day soon. So I saw what Preston was doing, so I chased after him before he jumped in his truck. Then I threw him off the bridge and he landed in the water. Please ignore what I was doing. It's just one of the goofs. And there he was floating downstream. So now with him floating downstream, he was floating down to the ocean of Knapford Harbour. And sure served him right. Later on, Daisy went to South Tidmouth to get some passengers to run on the branch line. But she was glad to be out of the shed, and after a busy night of having to deal with Diesel 10 and her hench engines. she saw that a van was to be coupled to her, and she felt most indignant. So after the van had been coupled to her, she had stopped purring and started to get a bit angry.
Do you expect me to pull that?
Surely, you can just pull one van, because there's a timetable to keep.
I won't. Natalie, aka 9862, can do it. She loves messing about with trucks.
She began to shudder violently. Come on, back down. We've got a busy time table to keep.
People, let me.
Cross that you told you.
So because of Daisy being a bit rude, she began to get a bit more cranky.
It's fit as ordered.
What is?
My fitter's a very nice man. He comes every week and examines me carefully. Daisy, he says, never pull. You're highly sprung and pulling is bad for your swerve. So that's how it is.
So they uncoupled the van and Daisy began to take off.
That's a good story. I'll give this what worth I choose, and no more.
But she said it to herself.
Excuse me, are you Lily? Yes, I am.
raining on the island of SODOR now. It has now got dark and it was now raining. And it was very scary. Thomas was on his way to go and pick up his dairy train. Rain pelted down heavily. Thomas shuffled around his branch line with the dairy train. The river was flowing fast and rising and crashing like tidal waves around Nassau Harbour and around elsewhere. Thomas chuffed as fast as he could. I must do this. I must do this. I must get over the hill before there's this landslide. But trouble came too soon. Soon they heard a whistle in the distance. It's Lady. She's come to help.
Excuse me, are you Lily?
Diesel 10.
Just ignore the goofs, guys, because I accidentally pressed on some buttons.
So Thomas waited until help was arriving. Oh, Lady, you came to rescue us. And of course, Robert has as well. because we need the power we've got. Soon the landslide was cleared, and Thomas was on his way and ready to use the special powers. Now, he was off again. Thomas cut through the rain, and he did his very best. I've done it! Thanks to Lady and Gromit coming to my rescue. Well done, Thomas. I was saying from the station window, you're a good engine. I'm very proud with you for getting through that rain and Lady for stopping the landslide. I'll talk with you later.
Soon they put the milk wagons back on the track and it all worked out okay. Lucky nothing spilt. There was a nasty rainy storm on the island of Sodor. Amalia's tent got blown away. Elward and Monique were at Natford Harbour. It was raining and pouring. It's the same harbour where Thomas went to go and get his dairy train. But Elward and Monique were in depression because they were worried about what might happen to the island while I'm still looking after it. Thomas and Percy were in North Tidmouth sheds, while Toby mainly sleeps out at Arsborough with Mavis, Henrietta and Salty. The two were safe in the old branch line shed because they were glad that they were being well looked after. Plus, it was well protected from the rain and the nasty storm. The end of day 5 and 5th night. The old windmill was struck by lightning. The sails broke. And fell into the harbour water, and so did the windmill. And it was the end of the old windmill out at Tidmouth Harbour. So the owner in the old signal box peeped his head out and saw that his windmill had now been destroyed and was very devastated. Early the next morning, Thomas was out delivering the milk, and Salty was taking Henrietta because Toby had to go to the works. So after the landslide, what Lady had saved Thomas from. Thomas was on the Little Western delivering the milk and also on his branch line. Salty was passing by, so we went past the he was passing the harbour and he saw something. He had seen that there was a lot of damage done around the island. So when he got to the harbour, he saw that the windmill, the favourite place of Toby's, had fallen in the water. The windmill is broken. Then the miller walked up to him. There must be a way, thought Salty. Oh, don't worry about that, everyone. They'll just be a goof. Other than the fallen over windmill, there were derailed wagons on the line what Toby and Salty mainly use. So there has been a nasty storm on SODOR. But I won't tell you, but there is more to come. Got the girl Lily, Wendoline's niece. A man walked up to Salty. There goes the end of my business. I can't afford the timbers work to do repairs because it's going to take such a long time. Thomas was in Mavis's shed because he was tired after delivering the milk and he decided to go and have a rest. And Mavis let him have permission to stain it before he goes back onto his branch line. Plus, he was feeling sorry that Toby's windmill had shattered. Plus, he was feeling sorry that Toby wasn't well and had to go to the works. So it wasn't as bad as Henry's repair. It was just where Thomas would later be on his branch line, taking Henrietta because Annie and Clarabelle had graffiti on them. And they had to wait for hours to get fresh paint to be repainted orange. Oh well, I'll just wait here, then I can take Henrietta, Toby's coach, to use instead of Annie and Clarabelle and maybe take a break then. That could be nice for a change. Lindsay was being rude to Salty and Bear. We need rocks for our roads, and you help us build the roads and railways. Then Percy came along and got ready to take Lindsay away. Rollers are rubbish, so good riddance. which I mean Salty and Bear was saying. Lily was getting ready for a busy day on SODOR. She was going to the beach. But she was having some unlucky experiences. But lucky, Grampus rescued her. But her wetsuit was torn. Then she got dressed in her comfy clothes for dinner.
You're Mavis, I suppose.
Mavis was standing no nonsense.
And you, I suppose, are Lindsay. Yes, I've heard of you.
And I've heard of you. You're nothing but scrap.
That was your fault. Actually, I'm better. Goodbye.
Mavis puffed away. Lindsay chuffed on, fuming. Later on that day, Danny was at the station getting ready to pull the mainline local because Gordon was looking after Henry's goods work. So later on, Salty and Toby were taking some building supplies to be taken into Tidmouth sheds for the roundhouse. But as when they were about to head in, Lindsay was blocking their way. Get out of the way! There's no time to wait. Toby and I... Later on that day, supplies to be taken into Tidmouth for the roundhouse. He was blocking their way. Get out of the way! There's no time to wait. Toby and I have got these trucks filled with building supplies for the roundhouse. Plus, I'm Toby's guide, Diesel. And you get out of the way. And that was selfish what you did to Mavis. Boko can't wait, because you're going to cause a serious accident. Boko was picking up some goods from the station, and he was on his way doing his job. So the whistle blew, and but there was trouble. Boko severely crashed into Toby and Salty's goods train. He had to travel rear first because there's a problem with something at his other end of the cab, where his face is. So he severely crashed into the goods train of building supplies, and all the building supplies went everywhere. Toby was derailed, but Salty was okay. Everyone in the station getting ready for Danny's fast local passenger service were very cross. So one passenger yelled out to Lindsay the steamroller, "You clumsy green roller! Look at the mess you've made!" But Lindsay did not listen. So Thomas arrived with the breakdown train to help clear up the mess. They help put some wagons back on the line, and they also helped put Boko back on the line. And they were busy cleaning up the mess. As soon as they finished cleaning up the mess, they were very angry, thanks to Lindsay the Green Steamroller for causing the disturbance. So they were still busy lifting and still busy getting the wagons back on the line. Thomas spoke over to Salty while the mess was still being cleaned up. Salty, you're a good diesel, and I'm just glad that you do the right thing to help look out for Toby and Mavis. Because Toby wasn't able to go to the works today, I'll look after Henrietta for him. Sure thing, Thomas. You look after Henrietta. And I'll have to do the goods work. Later on, Lindsay was doing her last plan. She thought, as a good plan, was to turn the turntable into a roller rink. But as when she was planning to do so, she went crash into the turntable. Then I sparkled over and saw what was going on. Lindsay! What on earth were you thinking? But Lindsay rolled her eyes at me. That's it. You'll be getting sent to the scrapyard. And I'll be doing it to your team by surprise. And they'll teach you for being a big coward. Now the turntable is jammed, and now the engines have got nowhere to turn around. And they'll have to travel backwards as well as forwards. And sorry's not good enough. I'm sending you straight to the scrapyard. He had to look after Mavis's goods because they were very heavy. Damn these trucks, they're heavy. Wish I had another engine to help push. Later on at the scrapyard, Thomas and some of his friends gathered around. Splatter and Dodge couldn't be able to come because they had to pull the express. Later on at the scrapyard, Thomas and some of his friends gathered around. Splatter and Dodge couldn't be able to come because they had to pull the express. So Thomas, Percy, Jamesica, Amalia, Duck, Gordon and Danny all surrounded Lindsay with pleasure, getting ready to be pulled up, ready for scrap. And now, it's the end of her, for good. So after Lindsay was rescued from the turntable well, she was now taken to the scrapyard. Thomas and some of his friends were there, and they were glad that she was going for good to be scrapped. And Splatter and Dodge appeared. Goodbye, Lindsay. Don't forget, you were mean to us. So later that afternoon / evening, I was on my mission. So I got rid of multiple guards. I was disguised as the postman. As when the guard and the maid walked away, I made it to the mafia boss's office. So after I got rid of my uncle's boss, I got rid of his wife. I pinched the family car, and Lindsay the steamroller was at the same scrapyard, getting ready to be scrapped. And the car was now ready to be got rid of. And now I've got a nice Bentley. I just want to share the last moment I had with my uncle's corrupt boss. You stay where you are because you were a corrupt boss to my uncle. Plus, very nasty, because I will not hesitate you being inspector of the railways on SODOR, because you're a nasty piece of work, and you will stay where you belong. And is that clear? And as for your family, they won't know I've even been here. Good day. Jamesica was getting some paint for North Tidmouth shed for the rebuild. She was doing the right thing to do her job, which I got her to do. But later there was trouble. 18462, actual name Natalie, was in the yard and she was up to no good. So I think gave her the idea of what to do. And she banged into the truck, and the trucks spilled paint all over James' car. It was same colour as her paint, also yellow and also green, and she was in shock. So without saying a word, 98462 chuffed away and laughed. Soon a fight began on the island. Went to see Splatter and Dodge, but he could only get next to Dodge. There's nothing that steamroller can stop me, which I mean Boko to, no, I mean Dodge to Boko. There's nothing what Lindsay can stop me because we are more reliable, we're too good for her. We're sorry you're one of the diesels who are being bullied by her side, which means Diesel 10 side, which I mean the engines who run for Princess Bride, because we engines are more reliable than the nasty diesels. Thanks, Dodge. I appreciate it. I can't stand how those silly diesels and that steam engine are causing all this trouble. One day they'll be taught a lesson, Boko, and we'll look after you for sure, and the other nice diesels. Because we nice diesels help too, because Splatter and I helped save James from almost being murdered. Yeah, we'll be off now, Boko. Hope you recover from being at the works.